Chapter 6, The Nightmare Parent Who is Created by This Education System. No one should be surprised that there are parents who will take advantage of a system. Anyone who has worked in sales knows that you will get horrible customers here and there. What most parents aren't aware of is how much damage a nightmare parent can do to a school district. Nightmare parents learn how to work the system early on and will continue attacking every teacher their kid has from kindergarten to 12th grade. They know what threats to make and which admin to go to when they don't get their way. They almost always win and eventually get their way. Nightmare parents aren't born. They're created in an environment that offers them a scapegoat and no accountability for what they say or do to school staff. Folks, I'm not joking when I say that if I ever wanted to make a horror movie, I would just interview a bunch of teachers about their experiences with nightmare parents. The terrifying part is that they so often get away with bullying, threats, and frivolous lawsuits and continue doing this to every teacher. Folks, we're going to pause a second and talk about this term, nightmare parent. I don't have a perfect definition, but I want to stress that I'm using it to describe extreme examples where a parent goes after a teacher while being in complete denial of their own kid's behavior or just denial of the complications of a situation. If you've ever had a conflict with a teacher, that does not make you a nightmare parent. Parents should contact teachers if they feel it's something important, like say their kid is getting bullied. Teachers need to know these things. One of the most damaging aspects of nightmare parents is how much they affect teachers' relationships with the other parents. Nightmare parents leave psychological scars on teachers. Emotionally, the teacher not only has to cope with the pain and humiliation brought on them, but they're also aware that this can and will happen again and again, year after year. It's only a matter of time before another nightmare parent comes after you, and you never know who it's gonna be. It's not paranoia, but a reality we face every time we get a new class. To be clear, probably 98% of parents don't fit into this category. In my own experience as a teacher, I can say it's rare that I get a nightmare parent. But teachers all over can testify to what this parent can do to the class. When a nightmare parent is in denial about their kid's behavior, a perfect storm is created that can chase endless staff members away from education. The worse the student's behavior is, the more of a victim they are in the eyes of their nightmare parent, who will go all the way up to the superintendent whenever there are any consequences for their kid's behavior. When admin constantly cave into the demands of nightmare parents, often out of fear of a lawsuit, this makes it almost impossible for reasonable parents to address concerns they have, such as the endless cases of bullying that go on without any consequences. But there's something much bigger at stake here. Consider everything discussed in this video. If you're not furious by now, then either you're admin or you're watching this on mute. How do parents address these issues with an administration that only takes you serious if you carry big stick and make threats? Let's remember that so many admin are masters of the art of manufacturing consent. The consent from the parents comes as admins skillfully redirect parental frustrations at school staff, who are to blame simply because they can be blamed. Even if parents don't buy into these lies and deceit, admin won't move an inch unless there's a serious threat, usually some sort of legal action. No matter what, the teacher will bear the brunt of any change. Even if the parent is totally supportive of the teacher, it didn't want this to happen. I want to note something quick. We've talked about Johnny's meltdowns throughout this video, but I've only given a little attention to the other 99% of students. I want us to consider how impossible it is to bring up concerns about the rest of the students when admin cater all decisions towards appeasing Johnny's nightmare parents. A main goal I had for this video was to show that what is stressing out your kid's teacher is 100% affecting your kid too. When a teacher can't control Johnny, Johnny can bully your kid whenever he wants. Try stopping him. Thus, we've come around full swing to the Lord of the Flies scenario, seen in so many classrooms where the teacher has lost all control and two students effectively do whatever they want. Kids are getting bullied so bad that they don't even want to come to school. Their parents desperately send emails and calls to the teacher, principal, admin, anyone they think can help. Everything is blamed on the teacher by admin. The best a parent can hope for is to transfer their kid to another class, but there's no guarantees the same thing won't happen again. Far from feeling bad about the damage that they and their kid have done, nightmare parents are often encouraged by admin to advocate for their kids' needs and challenge the system that's done them such harm. The hypocrisy knows no bounds. Interestingly, it's not uncommon for admin to encourage nightmare parents to share their strategies they use at home that work so well. This is referred to as expertise. It shouldn't be surprising that admin often develop real friendships with nightmare parents. And why not? They both go after the same scapegoat teachers. Strangely, there is one benefit to a close relationship between admin and nightmare parents. It can potentially prevent a damaging lawsuit. Parents don't sue for thousands. They sue for hundreds of thousands, if not millions. The sheer threat of a lawsuit is enough to make admin cave into almost any demand. To be clear, this is actually understandable as the lesser of two evils and is usually accompanied by more staff training in order to appease the parents. Crisis averted, except that now this nightmare parent thinks that they're an expert on education reform and sure enough is encouraged to force feed new ideas to the teachers. Can't wait to hear them. Folks, I can go on and on about the damage that nightmare parents do, but I'm sure you get the point. I want to briefly talk about how this affects a teacher's interactions with everyone else and maybe offer some advice. We teachers are a strong group. It goes with the profession. Considering everything in this chapter, I can assure you that parents don't need to be walking on eggshells with every email sent or conversation had with teachers. Like anyone else, teachers don't want to be accused of things. It's not rocket science to simply email concerns without instantly attacking Mrs. A or Mr. B, C, D, E, F, G. Considering everything in this video, what I ask is that parents show understanding for how hard our situations are. I often have parents who will end every email with something like, "We appreciate everything you do," or "My kid loves your class." It's things like this that can keep a teacher around to fight another year. And folks, on a personal note, I'm a fighter who won't be leaving this profession anytime soon, but I can't say the same for endless other teachers who are so sick and tired of their treatment and the lack of hope for any change happening in their district. Which brings us to our final chapter. Knowing all this, where do we go from here?